You know what's a solid plan, Colby?
What's that?
Riding till you find them, and then you kill them. I don't know how that's a plan at all.
Loosely, it's a plan, I guess.
I mean, in a world without GPS, I guess it's the only thing you could do, right?
Right. Pre-cell phone world.
How's it going, guys? My name is Barry.
And this is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. Theme music. What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new month of Who Watches This, the podcast.
And this should be a fun month. We're doing something a little bit different.
Yep.
We're doing flops, basically.
Yeah.
Movies that we love that made significantly less than it cost to make them.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's just bad marketing or maybe they had released the movie in a bad time where like a bigger movie was coming out.
Right.
We definitely want to shine a spotlight on those second place winners.
Right. The underdogs.
Because you know, Kobe, if you're not first, you're last. Well, hell, that's not true. You could be second, third, fourth. Hell, you could even be fifth. Oh, Ricky Bobby.
Oh, it was great.
So for the first movie that we chose for this month is the 13 Warriors?
Yeah, 13th Warrior.
13th Warrior, okay. Starring Antonio Banderas.
Yes.
I feel like you have to say his name that way.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like a normal dude.
Right.
But it's not. It's Zorro.
He's like my celebrity man crush.
Is he?
Totally. Like, I just... Everything that comes out, I gotta see Antonio Banderas.
You know whose mine is probably only because he sort of oozes coolness is Benicio del Toro.
Okay.
That's Guillermo del Toro's brother. Or do they just have the same last name? I always had this weird thing. I was like, they must be brothers, right?
What?
But he
maybe
he feels like he's just super cool. Dude,
right.
I
always felt that about Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, but see, I feel like Antonio Banderas is Mr. Steal Your Girl.
That's true.
You know, but then Benicio is nah, you could try, and then he'll steal your girl. Benicio will give you a chance, Antonio won't.
That's fair. That's a fair.
It's a fair assessment. But yeah, this movie unfortunately came out around the same time The Sixth Sense came out.
Okay.
And people are still clamoring about The Sixth Sense.
Right.
No one is clamoring about the 13th Warrior.
No, they were not.
Unfortunately, I was you watched this in the theaters, right?
I did. And I did. And it was an empty theater, and I was super disappointed.
Were you disappointed by the empty theater or the movie?
No, I liked this movie a lot. I really did like this movie a lot. And then, it was, maybe it wasn't opening weekend, but it was shortly after it came out. And it was, a dozen people in the theater. And I was like, why?
Well, so at this time, did Antonio Banderas already came out with Zorro? Or was this much earlier than Zorro?
This, I think, would have been earlier than Zorro.
Oh, see, I only heard about Antonio Banderas in Zorro because Catherine Zeta was also in there, and then he does a little, and then her dress falls off, which is awesome.
Okay.
But
and then I was he was in a movie with Sylvester Stallone where there were two hitmen that were trying to kill each other.
Oh, was that before Zorro?
I think that was before Zorro.
Was it before this movie too?
No, I think it must have been after this. He was in the Once Upon a Time in Mexico. That I think those, at least one of the parts was before this.
Yeah, but he's he is a pretty not as much as before, but late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
Antonio Banderas was your dude.
Right. He's the reason I went and saw Spy Kids.
I think that's like when he started to taper off a little bit. I feel like when you start doing kids movies,
Right.
it's
Not necessarily the end, but it is a change.
yeah. I think it was like his transition from like a sexy icon to like a dilf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't think I've seen or I don't think I've heard from Antonio Banderas in like a long time.
Right. That you say that. It's
Right.
I feel like it's been a while since I've seen something new with him.
I think the last like adult-ish type of like rated R movie I've seen him in was probably Original Sin with Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
And I watched that for Angelina Jolie. Colby, since you watched this movie in the theater, would you like to go through the review for it or like the plot of the movie?
Sure. It's not a super complicated plot. The Antonio, his character is Muslim and a Muslim poet who I believe he starts writing poetry to the king or some sultan's wife or something. Yeah. And before it can progress to anything serious, the sultan is like, I'm gonna send you on a ambassador mission, like across the country.
Yep.
So he and his partner, was it Omar Sharif?
Yeah. Little side note after the whole thing. Yeah, it is Omar.
So they take off. They get chased by the Mongols, and then get protected by the Vikings.
Yeah.
So they kind of hang out with the Vikings for a little bit, and there's a prophecy by the witch that there's a town that's getting taken over by these bear monsters.
Oh yeah, so like it's a tribe of cannibals who have modeled their life over bears.
Yeah.
Don't know how that worked, but okay.
And so in the prophecy it's these Norsemen have to protect this village, but there has to be 13 of them, and one of them has to be an outsider. And so they come to the conclusion that it's Antonio.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't speak their language. He doesn't have any idea what's going on, really. Omar Sharif is like translating, but it's a weird translation because he doesn't know the Nordic language, but he knows Latin, and one of the Nordic people speaks Latin also. So it's like a translation from Nordic to Latin to Arabic.
It's almost like Google.
Oh, yeah, right. So he goes with them. They get to this city, and then the city gets raided. And then they decide that they're going to try to protect the city. They try to build up walls and barricades, and then the city gets attacked again. And at that point, through their fighting, they realize that these aren't really bear human monsters, but it's like humans that are pretending to be not pretending to be animals, but that are mimicking animals. And so they're like, oh well, they're not really monsters, so we should be able to hunt them down and kill them.
Yeah.
And then they come across an oracle.
Oh, so
crazy
funny
woman.
Well, so like funny thing about that is like the woman earlier who told them about the prophecy.
Yeah.
It's a wise woman that are called vulvas.
Oh.
So they go to this village's vulva. and had said that like if they have to go to like their lair or their den and kill the priestess.
Yeah, so they have the snake queen is their leader, but then the army follows the general.
Yeah.
And you'll know him because he's got the horns of power.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a bear head with horns.
See, I don't know if you can. I don't know if they're splicing animals together, or how terrifying is it? Would it be if there's a bear out there with horns?
That sounds like a scary D&D adventure. But then they they find a way to track them, because at one point they're only seeing animal tracks because they've kind of wearing shoes that look like animal tracks. But the second time they get raided, they all are riding on horses.
Yeah.
So they can follow the horse tracks, and they follow it back to this set of caves. And as they spelunk through the caves, they find the queen. They kill her.
The ruler of, or the next heir apparent.
Yeah.
Does battle with the priestess.
Oh, right, yes.
And then before she can get beheaded by him, he gets scratched with tiny poison. You know, like
with her snake fang.
I just think it's unfair if you die from like a scratch of poison. I'd be so mad. Like when you're wherever you are, whether it's Valhalla, which these are Vikings, and they're like, "Hey man, how'd you die?" "Oh, I got scratched."
Some chick had long fingernails that were really dirty.
But go ahead after.
So they battle in the caves. They manage to escape. They get back to the
village.
To the village. At this point, there's 5 of them of the 13 left. And now the general rallies the general with his horns of power rallies the entire army, and they come and attack, and it's a battle royale until they kill the general, and then everybody else is like, "Oh, we're out of here."
Well, you have to also note that the person who kills the general was the next king,
right?
Who was already poisoned. So it's almost like Jordan's 6th game where he was all sick and stuff. and which was really cool because after they had retreated, right, he sits down on like this almost wooden like throne, puts his sword down, stabs it into the wood, and then dies with his eyes open.
Right, looking like he's in a like you said, like in a throne.
Yeah, his
dog is sitting at his feet.
It's almost like a Magic the Gathering card.
Right.
But yeah, and then what happens after?
So then they have the Viking funeral, and then it's basically you find out that it's the whole thing is the tale that the Antonio Banderas wrote because the Vikings were not
able to write. Yeah, and then the movie ends like that, right?
Yeah.
One of the cool like moments. I'm not jumping into like favorite moments right now, but the reason that Antonio Banderas is writing this tale is because after he comes back from the cave after being poisoned, Bellic, I think his name is, or like something like that.
Yeah.
He says that like I'll die a pauper, even though the village has given him like his group gold, and he says like, oh, like a man's like worth is in his legacy over like material possessions,
right?
Or
and so
like
even a poor man can die rich if his story is told.
Yeah, and so this is why Antonio Banderas is writing his story.
Yeah,
which is like really cool because I like always like thoughts like that, or like I remember in the Final Fantasy IX booklet where Freya, who is also a Nordic mythology, I believe.
Yeah.
Like one of her quotes in there was like, "A much worse death is being forgotten." So like I feel like Vikings have this very like huge like need. I mean, I don't think just Vikings, but they want to be remembered for something.
Right.
Even if it's like something shitty. Because the worst thing is to be forgotten, and then you're not even in the history books.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it's funny because like every time I read, like me and another friend, we like to read upon like Nordic mythology, Greek mythology, and I feel like one of the ways that people from those times have become immortal is through their tale.
Oh no, definitely. Right. Yeah, like you totally made me think of Troy with Brad Pitt, and he makes that same kind of argument. He was like, "Well, I'm a nobody fighter, who the world is going to remember, and then you're the king, but everybody's going to forget about you because nobody's going to write your tale.
And I definitely don't know that guy's name. So, what was some of your favorite parts of this film?
So that was like the real quick skim through.
Yeah.
There was some really kind of cool parts besides the fighting. There was like a section where every night they stopped and they made camp and they sat around the fire and told stories. And Antonio Banderas didn't know the language, but like you watched him watch them tell the stories, and as he started hearing words multiple times, all of a sudden in the stories those words would start to be English, and then there would be like sentences in English, and then pretty soon it was like he could understand everything they were saying. And it was a really interesting way, I feel like, to get around subtitles. Because I mean, obviously, instead of Antonio Banderas learning to speak Nordic and then speaking it the rest of the movie, they made it so it was like, as he learned it in English so that everybody knew it. Like we all learned together. I don't know. For some reason, it was just really cool to me that the way that they did that.
And it also shows that like Antonio Banderas' character was very like he's almost like a scholar. He's a scholar,
right?
You know, like in his homeland, he's a poet, and you know, like I'm pretty sure back in those times, learning to even like read and write was something of like high class.
Yeah.
And so you know, like physically, they had made fun of him because he's small.
Right, and his sword was small. He was small. He didn't wear armor. They kept saying that his horse was like a large dog. Like who rides a large dog into battle?
You know, but he made up for it because like even though he was kind of a coward, which I'm not used to seeing Antonio Banderas as a coward.
Right.
He played it off well, where he's like, "Oh, well, I'm not a warrior. I am a scholar."
Yeah.
You
and
know?
He slowly learns like the Viking traditions and what it's like to be a man, like in their
culture.
Yeah.
And it was really cool too, because like towards the end of the film, where they were doing like when they're about to do battle, the king or like the person who was supposed to be the king of the Vikings or whatever starts saying like a Valhalla prayer, and to the point where even Antonio Banderas has like he starts to recite it as well because he learned the culture.
Yeah,
which is really cool. One of my favorite parts in this movie is when they go to the caves to do battle or to like go for the priestess or whatever she is. But the funny thing is, all I could think about was there's this anime called Goblin Slayer.
Oh yeah.
If you guys ever watch it, it's pretty shocking. So don't email us like, I can't believe you made me watch that. It was horrific. But there's a funny part. There's a thing in there where it's the main character is the Goblin Slayer, and all he does is fight goblins, and he clears out hordes of like caves of goblins and all that stuff. But when you find other people who like, oh yeah, let's go kill some goblins and get some easy points, they bring the wrong equipment. So like in caves, they try to bring like long swords.
Oh yeah.
So, but then the Goblin Slayer is like, I don't need long swords because you're in a confined space,
right?
And it's just gonna stop your movement. And that's all I could think about in here, where they have like these long Viking-like swords, and I'm like, how are they swinging that?
Yeah.
But like, it was really cool. The set for the cave part was like awesome.
Right.
Had like millions of thousands of skulls in there, almost looking like the Paris catacombs. And then even the final fight with the chick, with the priestess or whatever, they had like heads strung up like spider webs.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was really cool. It's still such a shame that he got scratched to death. So like oh yeah, but like one thing that bothered me is like, well, Antonio Banderas at this time he had such a thick accent
Yes.
that there were parts where like I needed subtitles to understand the English.
Yeah. And some of the Nordic people had a very heavy accent as well.
Yeah.
And so there was a few times where it was like, what did they say?
But it's funny too, like in one of the scenes that like where they had realized that he had learned Nordic.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to insult them because I guess they were insulting him in their language.
Right.
And Antonio Banderas was like, "Oh, like my mother loved me or something."
At least I know who my father is. And half of the Vikings are like, what? And the other half are like, oh, you're hilarious.
Yeah, because he slowly gains like the respect through like learning the language, learning their traditions,
right,
and all that stuff, and fighting. And even though he didn't have to fight by them, I mean, he's still forced to fight with them, but he could have just like not.
Yeah.
Like, even though he was traveling, he could have just like, I'm just gonna die.
Right, or I'm gonna protect the women that you're locking in the cellar.
Yeah, I'll be in there, guys. So, let me know when everything's okay.
And there's so much like cultural things, like cultural differences. Like he gets cut on his forehead, and like the ladies, one of the like nursemaids is like taking care of it, and he's like, what is that? And she's like, oh, it's boiled down cow urine. And he's like, oh, those are filthy animals, don't put that on my face. She's like, okay, I can get you some water, and then tomorrow you'll have a fever, and I'll have to put this on anyway.
It's also funny because then like a lot of the Nordic women are kind of just like laughing at him,
yeah,
because he has like these scratches, and they're like, he's all like, ow.
Right.
See, I would not want to grow up in a Nordic country because, man, when I get sick, I become like a 4-year-old toddler.
Cartoons.
And I was like, oh, I want some porridge. Oh, I can't move. Well, I feel like Nordic dudes are just like, even though they have like 104 fever, they still go to chop lumber wood. I don't know what they do.
Right. Yeah.
They're such big burly dudes. Oh yeah, this movie is pretty fun. I like the fight scenes are pretty well done.
Yeah, pretty well choreographed.
Yeah, where and not everyone, like no one's like flailing around or waiting for things to happen. It felt like a lot more fluid for a 1999 film.
Yeah.
Because there's certainly films like in the 90s that are like,
I mean, it has a big budget. It has a good cast. It has a good crew.
Yeah. But the plot
and the cast is like, it is not all American actors, so like you don't recognize. Now more of them I recognize. Back then there was, like 2 that I'd seen in other things besides Antonio Banderas. But yeah, like they apparently they kind of traveled through Europe, doing casting calls and stuff to try to get, because it was like easier to get a Swedish or a Nordic actor and then fly them to California than it is to get a California actor and then try to teach him the accent and try to get him to play that part.
Well, I also believe, I don't know how big Antonio Banderas was during his time, but a good chunk of that was probably like his salary too.
Right.
But like I said, like Omar, one of the older gentlemen in this movie, who was Antonio Banderas' like advisor in the film, he was like a pretty big-ish type of actor, right?
Yeah.
So like in one of the interviews though for this film, because it did so poorly, he had talked to himself and was just like, we have to stop doing these cash grab movies. Is it a movie that's gonna be worth leaving home for?
Okay, right.
So I don't know if it was him like personally that was just like, this movie was trash, I can't believe I did it, or maybe it was because of like like movie reviewers like Siskel and Ebert. I don't remember when the skinny one passed away.
Right, yeah, it was Siskel and Ebert were together still when this came out.
And I think he had given this movie like a 1.5 star.
Right, and his big criticism was that you didn't get to know the characters and that they didn't have good chemistry together. And to me, like that for having 13 warriors in an 1.5-hour movie, you got to know 6 of them a little, and then those 6 died.
Yeah.
But the ones that all lived, I thought, even if they were flat characters, like they weren't super well-rounded, you got to know them, you got to appreciate them, especially like you saw the camaraderie between the one who always called Antonio Banderas little brother. Like, you saw the bond. You could see the Viking king or heir apparent. You could see him warming up to Antonio. Where like at the beginning he was like, why do we have a foreigner with us? Yeah. And then by the end it was like he was one of the so I felt the opposite. Like I really felt like they did the best they could to develop the characters that were at least the key surviving characters.
Yeah. For me it was like I think I wanted a little bit more for all of them being like united, like I mean it was nice that they spent a good amount of time with Antonio Banderas and then the Viking who called him like little brother, and also that was cool because it showed sort of like a comedic side to it all, but yeah, I just want a little bit more or a little bit more of Antonio Banderas' backstory. Because, I mean, like, all we get in the beginning is him walking past the princess or whoever it was supposed to be.
Right.
And then he just gets shipped off.
Right, yeah. You get, like, a little 30-second kind of monologue before he gets the boot. And it's kind of him reading the first paragraph of the story,
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I think that would have given me a little bit more... like it would have made me care a little bit more about Antonio Banderas, but at that point where like he just gets shipped off, it's like, well, you
I guess maybe
fallen in love with him.
Maybe it was like, oh, it's Antonio. I already care about him. That's off the preview.
And like I thought it was also weird that like Antonio Banderas was playing like a Middle Eastern person, but then he had a super strong Spanish accent.
Yeah.
Wait, is he Spanish or like?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He had like the super strong Spanish.
Yeah. That is true. I don't know if there was just maybe not a lot of
Middle Eastern
actors at that time, or possibly just that he was a bigger name, and because all the Nordic people were foreign names, they wanted a stronger American name in there.
Yeah. Or like a name that America knows.
Oh, right.
I mean, even now, I can't have, like, there's no Middle Eastern actors that really come to mind right now. And like, sorry to say it, but I think the closest one I know is like Aziz, but he's Indian. I don't know. He's Asian.
And I can think of Indian that.
Yeah.
I can think of quite a few, but
nowhere from like Egypt or maybe none that we know of.
Right.
Because I didn't know Elijah Dushku was Armenian.
Oh, that's true.
And she's hot. The one thing I was surprised about in this film was that there wasn't really any romantic little sidelines.
Antonio gets the one little hop in the sack with the.
Does he?
With the nurse girl before
battle.
Before battle.
Man, maybe that's what they do in Norway.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, oh, you're gonna die tomorrow. Possibly, we should do it. I like that train of thought. Like, we should do it right now.
Right.
But yeah, like there wasn't anything specific. Like, you know, movies, even like hardcore action movies, tend to have like a little bit of a romantic like sideline.
Right.
Like Jason Statham in Transporter hooks up with Shu Kui. You know, where she's like, "Yeah, I'm paying for the trouble." I'm like, but
I just had you in the trunk of my car for the last 36 hours, but you're kind of cute.
You should probably take a shower first. Yeah, so that's, I think maybe that's one of the things that like I was really surprised about. So one thing is, do you feel that if this movie had come out maybe a month or two after Sixth Sense, that it would have done better?
Probably, yeah. I think a little of it was the timing of what it came out against. I feel like the advertising on it, or like the marketing, was really poor. And it was one of those things where it was just I just had a store, and I was like basically had like free passes because we were advertising with a movie theater, and we had like basically free passes to go see movies. Mm-hmm. And so I always just knew what was coming out because of that. Not so much as there was a hype about, hey, there's a new movie. And it's big writer too. Jurassic Park writer.
Wow.
Michael Crichton?
Is that who wrote it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he wrote it. I guess it was called The Eaters of the Dead or something was his original book.
Yeah.
Because they were focused on these bear
cannibals.
Cannibals.
Yeah.
And I guess his book was written more horror story than action adventure.
Yeah.
And so it got changed a little bit.
So I think the initial script was by Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
And then maybe the studio interference were like, well, no, it can't be a horror film.
Right. And
which
then
is like unfortunate.
And then the director of Die Hard. So another
big person.
But then he's also action adventure director. So I feel like they took a story and then they gave it to him and he pushed it in his own direction. Yeah.
That's kind of unfortunate because Michael Crichton, obviously you've seen him write and he's had a good track record.
Right. He does action-y ones, but it's always a little action horror.
Yeah.
Like Jurassic Park's really kind of
an action
more on the horror side than the action side.
Yeah.
He did Congo with the apes, and that was
that was terrifying.
Ends up being a horror. Yeah.
So one of the things that I had thought about as I was watching this movie was it felt a little bit past the due date of this type of film. You know, this was coming into like this was almost like early 2000s where epic pieces were starting to feel a little bit stale. Like, you know,
I can totally see that.
And I think that's maybe like, you know, with how people are feeling about like superhero films right now is probably how people felt about like epic pieces like this.
Right.
Because during that time,
they kind of overdid it.
Yeah, well, not like I don't think the movie overdid it. I just think like it was just a bad time to release the
film.
Right,
like just the industry in general had kind of overdone, and this is, you're right, kind of picking up that tail end.
Yeah, because like there's movies like Dances with Wolves, the one with Mel Gibson, Braveheart, and so I feel like people were just a little bit over like these period pieces. They're like, another period.
And then you've got like stuff like Braveheart, which was fantastic and like so over the top, and then you've got this, and it's not as much. They tried to bring it down a little bit more.
Yeah.
Practical effects, though. I mean, I think it was.
Oh, it's good. It's not lacking in a lot of things. I mean, like maybe the plot's a little bit thin, but as far as like the action, the practical effects, the set design,
right,
is like really like awesome.
Yeah, because after this, there was like a big break on that
type of movie.
That type of movie until the more fantasy Lord of the Rings kind of brought it back. But you're right. It was probably
a little bit like that. That's how I felt. Like maybe that's why the movie didn't do so well, because like even though maybe Antonio Banderas was gonna pull people in, they're like, another period piece,
right?
And I think Lord of the Rings gets a pass because it's such a beloved novel from like early 70s or 70s 80s,
right?
That like people were like, oh, even though it's like an epic, but it's like a fantasy,
and everybody saw Meet the Feebles, and they were like, that director's doing Lord of the Rings. We've got to see it.
Yes, that is the movie they were clamoring about. Yeah, so I think that's like probably one of the issues that the movie had during its release.
Yeah, I wish I would have looked into it a little bit more before we did this on what else came out at that same time that it was competing against, because like what you said, Sixth Sense was so big, and it was that shift into that different kind of genre that people were wanting. Yeah.
Well, I think during that time they wanted more like modern action films.
Yeah.
With like, and then like what's it called? Teen movies were like starting to get like big again.
Right.
Like American Pie probably just came out, or American Pie 2.
Right. Yeah, like that comedy was more than of what was the popular thing.
Yeah. So but I think this movie probably would have done a lot better, like maybe like late 2000s, like 2008, 2009, if they came out with this, like, I think they would have to come up with a different name, because also like just plain name movies aren't even a thing anymore.
Right.
You know, like the 13th Warrior. Ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah, like but I think it was just a little bit too late or a little bit too early for, like, depending on which.
Right. Just hit the wrong time period.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I don't remember a movie in 1999 except The Sixth Sense, because it's been parodied, it's been talked about so much.
Yeah.
That, like, do you remember any movies coming out in 1999? Off the top of your head.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So Colby, where would you put this in your Antonio Banderas scale?
Like I said, I really liked this movie. And I still like it. I mean, I thought being practical effects and good practical effects, like it didn't fall to that late 90s, early 2000s where they started over CGing things, but that CG wasn't good enough to hold up 15 years later.
Yeah.
And you watch those and you're like, oh my goodness, how did I not think this movie was terrible?
But this movie isn't like that.
But
right?
This isn't like that at all. Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I know I saw it in the theater. I know I've rented it. I blockbustered it. I'm surprised at some point I didn't purchase it. I think I just kind of.
Oh, like I'll get to watch it again.
Right.
Something like that.
I believe it's been on the Sci-Fi Channel a couple times, and I know that I stopped and watched it.
But like, is this on your top 5 Antonio Banderas movies?
It probably is. Yeah.
So I just looked it up, just to let you know. Movies that came out in 1999, probably the most notable ones are The Matrix.
Oh, yes, that would have definitely stolen.
Fight Club.
Yep.
Blair Witch Project. And A Phantom Menace. That is a tough year to come out with movies, especially an action-oriented movie where, like, movies like Fight Club were just so pop culture, like, favorited. I don't think that's a word.
It is now.
and The Matrix, which if you compare The Matrix, like special effects to this, The Matrix is a little dated now.
Right.
Where
That's true.
practical effects is forever.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was a tough year to come out with this type of movie where like these more modern or futuristic movies were coming out and people probably just wanted to see cool stuff.
Right. And yes, and if Phantom Menace came out, then we're already starting back into Star Trek movies. We're starting to really get away from
Epic.
Middle Ages and
Yeah.
we're pushing into the future.
And I think what didn't help too was like this movie had like a pretty heavy accents.
Right.
Which I mean it's good for the like authenticity of this movie. Which excellent.
Yeah.
But for like I think for like a average moviegoer, they're like, I think that's what for me, that's what The Witch was.
Yeah.
Or that's what it was called.
Yeah.
I think you watched it and you were
Not in love with it.
and it's mainly because it had such old English in it.
Yes, I almost had to watch it twice to know what I was listening to.
And then the second time was probably even longer.
Right, because then the little bit of scares and suspense were gone because I knew it was coming. I don't know how that movie got as high praise as it did.
Well, I think it came out during the time where like, oh, slow burn horror is everything. Because I'm going to let you know right now, for fans out there that are big horror movie aficionados, I do not care for Hereditary or Midsommar. Sorry, that's just me. You know, I don't want you to email or tweet us that like, oh, you guys must like cheap scares, little movie jump scares. No, that's not the case. But it's just like movies that are just such a slow burn. It's just like, ugh.
Right. Yeah.
So Kobe, how do you feel like if this movie were to be done today, who would you want to play Antonio Banderas' role?
Oh,
What? One thing though is we have to remember now everyone wants to be like a little bit more politically correct.
right. So the Middle Eastern actors that we can think of, we have to pick one of them.
or we could just have them be from another country.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, I think maybe at this point it might be an American. I don't know. But I think Antonio Banderas could still play the role.
he probably could. If not, I would put him in the part of Omar Sharif.
Oh, right.
As
Oh,
the-
a little callback.
Yep.
A little Easter egg for 13th Warrior cult follower fans.
Yo.
But like, it would be nice to just make him Spaniard. We don't know. I don't know any
Yes.
Spanish.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Because, Spain would have not been that far. It could have been
Yeah.
the same.
Same,
Right.
like, same ocean.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I feel like if this movie came out today, I think it would do a lot better.
Right.
Yeah. Like, would you change anything about the movie if they were to redo it?
I'm sure that they would CG up some of the stuff a little bit more. Like there was this kind of a cool part where the legend was that when the bear people got mad, they would send out their fireworm, which one of the ladies explained to Antonio that was a drag was,
A worm coil engine.
basically a dragon. But then as the fog came in, all the people came out of their cave and they came riding single file, all holding torches.
Yeah.
So it looked like this long fire snake.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Which was really cool. I know that at this point they would CG that up to be something
way more intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that it would be really cool. That part I thought was really awesome because it's just the psychology of like battle really plays into like how these bear cannibals are able to eat whole villages. I don't know what they do.
And the whole excuse me. The whole movie is a little bit of a kind of a callback to like Seventh Samurai and stuff like that. where like you get the 7 samurais who come together from different tribes, and then or not tribes, but
like areas,
different
or regions.
Yeah, and then they come together for this like common goal of saving this city, and so that's very similar to this. The one thing on that is you only have 7 people to introduce, so you get to know them all a little bit more. Than 13 in an hour and a half movie. You kind of get a little bit of.
Well, I think now you would get the extra 30 minutes.
Oh, right.
Because movies are now 145 to 2 hours.
Yeah, I think this would push a full 2 hours. You get a little bit more for each person. But yeah, there was probably not a whole lot in his I would change.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd probably change the costumes up a little because...
But the costumes are really good.
They are, but you can tell that they're like people in a costume, where I think now if they did it, the costume would be a little more elaborate, so they look a little bit more animal until they got killed, and then like you remove the helmet and you're like, oh, that's a person underneath there.
The only thing I would probably change is I would want to lean more into the horror aspect of it.
Yes, I could definitely see that.
Because it would be cool if maybe from like when they tell the legends that it would be cannibal people like transforming into bears, or like during the attacks, it would be much more scary.
Right. And they could definitely play that because they've got like they're in like the town hall, and you get a little sense of these things walking around the outside of it, and you can't really tell what they are or what they're gonna do. But yeah, you could extend that. You could have made that real spooky of like because it's all foggy and stuff out, so you could get the little fog coming in, and you certainly had them hiding a little bit more in the shadows.
Yeah, or to build up the suspense, like while they're having a town meeting or when they're building up defenses during the night, you have the group of bear cannibals just circle their whole town, and then when they go outside in the morning, they see the tracks.
Right,
it's all bear tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if they remade it today, it would be a lot better for them to lean into like this action horror film. Like we can harken back to like Overlord, where it was a period piece, but it was action, sci-fi, and horror, and that kept me more engaged. Because I'm not really a big fan of like horror, like war movies. It's always depressing.
Right.
Like it's always the lovable character that gets killed in the most gruesome and heartbreaking way.
Yeah.
But when you throw in zombies, then it just ups the movie 5 points. And so if they threw in cannibalistic transforming bear people,
right,
it would be way more awesome.
Yeah, and even if they didn't really transform, but they had the costume, so like out in looking at them through the fog out the window, like in the field, and having them fake transform, so you really got that scare of, are they really animals or are they really people? Or
it would play into the whole war psychology,
the mythos of it.
One thing that I found surprising was, even though in their eyes, in like the Vikings' eyes and Antonio Banderas' eyes, they're considered like savages after they find out they're human.
Right.
They were like, as far as battle wise, they were, I think, way more advanced than they wanted to give them credit for, because they were using battle horns, just like in the Civil or the American Revolution. People were using drums to dictate the cadence of war. They were using horns to communicate. They were riding horses. They were organized. They used the mist and the fire snake mythos that they knew they had to their advantages. So even if they're considered savages, as far as battle and war goes,
right, they were pretty well organized.
Yeah, which is really awesome, because I think a lot of movies try to show like these type of people in their more like sadistic or like animalistic ways. This movie was really cool because even though they were cannibals, they portrayed them as very smart, intelligent,
Right.
human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm glad that they did, because I mean, especially in the 90s, it was just way more easier to be a lot politically incorrect.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to our review or our rating portion. If this is the first time you guys have joined us before, we do our rating portions in 4 sections, which is stream it, DVD it, Blu-ray it, and Ultimate Box Collection. Which, like, you know, it's hard to do for these single movies, but you know, this Ultimate Box Collection is always gonna be a premium pack.
Yep.
Colby, where would you put this on your collection?
You know, I think I gotta go Blu-ray with this. I liked this movie when it first came out. Rewatching it, I really liked it. It stands up.
Yeah.
The test of time. Kind of following some reviews and stuff on YouTube. It looks like there's actually not necessarily a bunch of like deleted scenes or anything like that, but there is like, it looks like cast interviews and stuff from a lot of the people. So it looks like there would be some decent extras on a Blu-ray. Yeah, I mean, this would certainly be something that I would not just, like a lot of these movies, I'm like, this movie was goofy and weird, I'd just throw this on in the background of a party and have people go, what the hell are you watching? But yeah, no, this would be definitely something I would sit down and, you know, give it an annual watch.
Yeah, I think like the Blu-ray would probably be cool because it would have like a lot of the BTS making of the scenes, the costume designs, and like maybe a little bit more of the myth of behind the Cannibal Bear people. I think that would be included in a Blu-ray.
Right.
Unfortunately, I am not as big of a fan of Antonio Banderas as Colby is, but I would probably put this on the Blu-ray sorry, DVD. You know, because I think it is a cool movie to watch. I really do love the set design and the costumes that's in it. Unfortunately for me, like, the plot is a little bit lacking. But I mean, you could say that for a lot of 90s films. Like,
right.
Like, what's the point of Clueless? You know, that's a paper thin plot too. It is every teenage movie that's out there.
That is true, and I've seen that movie a number of times as well.
I mean, Alicia Silverstone's breakout role is in that movie, and Donald Faison is probably one of my favorite comedic actors, even though he doesn't do much. You know, he was in Scrubs, and I watched Scrubs just for him.
Yep.
But yeah, I would probably put this in my DVD pile. Just because, like, it's not doing anything new, but if it had gone to, like, the horror action route, I feel like it would have been a lot more mind-blowing, especially for that time.
Right.
Because, you know, not a lot of people, like, a lot of people were either doing action or horror.
Yeah.
They weren't doing a mixture of both, as far as I remember. You guys can tweet at me saying that I'm wrong. But, you know, as long as you guys are listening, that's cool. But yeah, I would put this in my DVD collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't think of what Ultimate Box set.
Oh, it would be a collection of Antonio Banderas' top 3 movies.
Well, yeah, then I would get that.
It would be Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Zorro, and The 13th Warrior.
Oh, soon. I would have to be the Mexico trilogy.
Oh, it would have to be the 3. There's 3 movies of that? Yeah. Or is it just a Once Upon a Time movies?
It's Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Desperado, and...
Dusk Till Dawn.
No.
Oh, no, that's George Clooney
George Clooney.
Quentin Tarantino, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But there's a third one.
It's Zorro.
Upon a Time in Mexico.
Wait, is that like a like a legit trilogy?
Yeah.
Or is that... Oh, okay.
It's a legit trilogy.
I've never seen any of those. Wait, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, is that with Brad Pitt?
Johnny Depp?
Oh, okay. I remember a lot of people complaining about that movie because he's like Johnny Depp's not supposed to be in there.
He's the gringo cop who loses his eyes, and then he still is a cop even though he's blind.
Wait, he lose both eyes?
Both eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And Cheech Marin's in all 3 movies.
What happened to Chong, you know? Where did it go wrong for Chong?
He's made some little cameo appearances and stuff, but yeah, you're right.
I think he was always... I think I remember him the most in That 70s Show.
Right, yep.
Like his biggest, like little guest starring spots.
Right.
But...
He was somebody's uncle or something, right? Wasn't he? I don't know.
Oh, you know, he was like the photo guy, which is like also weird. But I feel like Cheech really like got away from the whole stoner image.
Yeah.
But also that's the box trilogy you'd want, right?
Yeah, I'd get that.
I think in this box trilogy it would be 13th Warrior, Dances with Wolves, and Braveheart. Those are like the 3 big period movies I know. Is The Postman with Kevin Costner?
I remember The Postman too, yeah.
But is that like later? It's like early, like 2004 or something, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that one didn't do anywhere near as well as Dances with Wolves.
Yeah. But this movie is definitely worth a watch, guys. If you are a huge fan like Antonio Banderas, just like Colby is,
right?
Or if you like semi horror action films, this is definitely worth the watch, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We are coming to the end of the first episode of Flop Movie Month.
So it should be fun because they'll all be very different from each other.
Different themes.
Yeah
right. So I hope you guys join us next week. If you guys have anything you guys want to say to us or suggest the themes, our email and our Twitter handle is down below. Just go ahead and slide in the DMs or the emails and let us know.
And watch and share and like and
review,
subscribe,
all of that goodness,
all that stuff.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry.
And this is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check out who does our theme music, it is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage, and her Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.